Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvashesha Sunyavadi Ashtachari Satarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Shri Krishna Chaitanya. You can swap instruments. You play the mridanga. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Oh, we just turn them off. We turn them off purposely. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Katanchana smite yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavet vismite viparitang syat Shri Chaitanyam namamitam. Things that are very difficult to do, keep droning.
Become easy.
Keep droning, keep droning.
If one
No, keep droning on the harmonium. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or another simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. Shri Sachi Sutashtakam, 8 prayers glorifying the son of Srimati Sachi Devi by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Are you ready? Nava Gaura Param, Nava Pushpasharam, Nava Bhavaduram, Nava Lasya Param, Nava Gaura Param, Nava Pushpasharam, Nava Bhavaduram, Nava Lasya Param, Navahasya Karam, Navahemavaram, Pranamami Shati Sutta Gauraparam. Asya Karam, Navahemavaram, Pranamami Shati Sutta Gauraparam. Not quite that. His complexion is a hue of fresh cream, tinged with kumkum. He's the ever-fresh Cupid who shoots arrows of newly blossoming flowers. He bears newer and newer moods of emotional ecstasies. He's fond of performing novel dances. He makes ever new jokes that cause much laughter. His brilliant luster is like freshly cast gold. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Nava prema yutam, navanita shucham, nava vesha kritam, nava prema rasam, navanita shucham, Nava Vesha Kritam, Nava Prema Rasam, Navadavila Sashubha Hemamayam Panamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram.
Navadavila Sashubha Hemamayam Panamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram.
He is endowed with ever-fresh love of Godhead. His radiant luster is like the color of fresh butter. His fresh attire is arranged in ever-new fashions. He relishes ever-new mellows of love for Krishna. He shines in ninefold new ways while executing the ninefold processes of devotion. He is permeated with a most auspicious loving nature. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Hari Bhakti Param, Hari Namaparam, Karajatya Karam, Hari Namaparam. Hari Bhakti Param, Hari Namaparam, Karajatya Karam, Hari Namaparam. Nayana Satatam, Panayashudaram, Panamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram.
Nayana Satatam, Panayashudaram, Panamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram.
He is absorbed in devotion to Sri Hari. He maintains the chanting of the names of Hari. While chanting, he counts the holy names on the fingers of his hands. He's addicted to the name of Hari. He always has tears of love welling in his eyes. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Satatam Jannata Pavatapaharam Paramata Parayana Lokagatim Satam Jannata Pavatapaharam Paramata Parayana Lokagatim Navalehakaram Jagatapaharam Paramami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram.
Navalehakaram Jagatapaharam Paramami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram.
He is always removing the suffering of material existence for mankind. He is the goal of life for persons who are dedicated to their supreme interest. He inspires men to become like honeybees, eager for the honey of Krishna Prema. He removes the burning fever of the material world. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Nija Bhakti Karam Priyachartaram Atanartana Nagara Rajakulam.
Nija Bhakti Karam Priyachartaram
Kullakamini Manasalasya Karam Panamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram. He motivates pure devotion unto himself. He is most attractive to his beloved servitors. By his dramatic dancing, he exhibits the characteristics of the king of paramours. He causes the minds of beautiful young village women to dance. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Karatalam, Kalakam, Kalavam, Vraja Sudhinikaya Maturam. Nija Bhakti Gunavritana Chakaram Purnima Shachi Sutta Gaura. Nija Bhakti Gunavritana Chakaram Purnima Shachi Sutta Gaura. He plays cartels as his throat emits sweet melodious sounds, and the vibrant notes of the veena are softly played. He thus inspires the devotees to perform dramatic dancing as infused with aspects of his own devotional service. I bow down to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Yuga Dharma Yutam Punananda Sutam Tadani Suchitam Pavabhavo Shitam. Yuga Dharma Yutam Punananda Sutam Tadani Suchitam Pavabhavo Shitam. Tanudhyana Chitam Nija Vasayutam Purnima Shachi Sutta Gaura. He is accompanied by the Sankirtan movement, which is the religious practice of the age of Kali. He is the son of Nanda Maharaj, come again. He's the extraordinarily brilliant ornament of the earth. His preaching mood is suitably adapted to the cycle of birth and death. His consciousness is fixed in meditation on his own form of Krishna. He is always accompanied by his transcendental abode. I bow to Gaura, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Arunam Nayanam Charanam Vatanam Vadane Salitam Pakkanamaram. Arunam Charanam Vatanam Vadane Salitam Pakkanamaram. Kurte Surasam Jagata Jivanam Purnima Shachi Sutta Gaura. Purnima Shachi Sutta Gaura. Purnima Shachi Sutta Gaura. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Purnamami Sachisutta Gauravaram. Purnamami Sachisutta Gauravaram. Hare Krishna. So I'm told that we're supposed to say something about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya this afternoon. And by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we've been kept busy all day, so I haven't got it, you can say, in order or any proper range. We'll try to share some things. A lot of pictures, some of them you may have seen or not seen, of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. Paintings, of course, not photographs. They didn't have cameras or mobiles in those days, but paintings are there. Depiction of paintings, just like in this song. The interesting, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has compiled this song, but his that I know of, his only known interactions with Lord Chaitanya were in Jagannath Puri. Yet when you sing this song, you get the idea that, he's not really describing Lord Chaitanya in Jagannath Puri so much. He's more describing his pastimes in Mayapur, Navadvip. Lord Chaitanya was very renounced in Jagannath Puri, and much of the time in seclusion. So he's that transcendental vision of the pure devotees of the Lord that goes beyond what they see in the, you could say, immediate vision, very deep. So many of these pastimes of the Lord Chaitanya, we may hear about them for our purification. Maybe we like to hear them. They may be somewhat funny also sometimes. Maybe they're interesting. Maybe whatever. Maybe we learn some lessons from them. The main thing is we should probably learn lessons, something we can apply in our lives, something which we can, share with others in a meaningful way. Lord Chaitanya doesn't just come to have fun. He does. The nature of the Lord is always having fun in different ways. In the mood of Lord Chaitanya, depends which stage of his life we're, let's say, aware of or hearing about. There may be different emotions manifesting, but primarily he's in this mood of intense separation, which is something which is, materially speaking, not very welcome, not something which we hanker for. Although they do say absence makes the heart grow fonder, but it doesn't satisfy that need for that association or interaction. But in the case of spiritual separation, it increases the absorption in the object of one's love, or one's attraction, attention. And that in itself intensifies the ecstasy, which is perhaps not perceived. It's the opposite to the material effect, that it just increases one's ecstasy within inside in ways which are not, there's no limit. So his birth was, we discussed a little that we heard the night before last. We heard a little bit about the reasons this morning. We see some pictures here. This is a painting of, obviously, of just after Nimai was born. I mean, he was born with Mother Sachi, we heard the other day. And he had different names at birth. What names was he given at birth?
Nimai.
Nimai. What was he called Nimai?
As he was born under a coconut tree.
Under a coconut tree. No, I thought it was apple tree. Oh, mango tree. Okay, mango tree. As long as it wasn't a durian tree. You may know what a durian is. Why was he called Nimai?
Born under a neem tree.
Under a neem tree. A neem tree. So Mother Sachi gave him the name Nimai. And that's, as a childhood, that's his primary name, isn't it? Nimai Pandit is the most personal name. He was also given by the astrology. What name was he seen to have according to the astrology?
Oh.
Vishvambar. Vishvambar. Yeah. What's Vishvambar? Who is Vishvambar?
The leader of the universe.
Yeah, he's like the head of the universe, like that. What other names did he receive? I don't know if they're all at childhood. There's one other name, wasn't there, at childhood? When did he get the name? It came a bit later, I guess, Gaura Hari. But there many people would address him. Why would they address him as Gaura Hari?
He was Hari himself, but in a golden
His
complexion.
complexion was golden.
Golden complexion, yes. So it was Gaura. Different words refer to the golden complexion. And Hari, because everybody, as soon as he was born, everybody would chant Hari, Hari, Hari. And if they didn't chant Hari, he would start crying. So they got used to this, that if you wanted Nimai to be quiet or stop crying, then you had to chant the name Hari, or Krishna's names. So here many demigoddesses are coming and making offerings to the newborn child in the guise of the wives of Brahmins and so on. They're bringing their offerings to Nimai when he was a young child in the house of Mother Sachi. Most very fortunate and attractive child. Irresistible, beautiful child, just like Krishna, born all auspicious symptoms, of course. Long arms down to his knees, lotus-like eyes, beautiful complexion, beautiful hair, black wavy hair, and so on. And he was a frolicsome lad, as they say. He was always playing games and playing mischief. I don't exactly remember what this picture depicts or represents, but it's obviously a pastime of young Nimai. He was always up to various games and what have you. And he was also sometimes, he'd go into school. He didn't, well, different pastimes which he had. Sometimes he was doing things which Brahmin children wouldn't do. No, this is not Gurukul. This is Nimai sat on top of, I think it's disused cooking utensils or something. Discarded, at least in Bengal they would cook in clay. And after cooking they discard the pots and they're considered to be kind of unclean in a sense. But he would sit on top of them. What's the difference, He saw no difference. He would even eat the earth and eat the clay, and he would say it's all coming from the same thing. What's the difference? Clay pots, mud, food, everything's the same. It's all coming from the earth. So what's the big deal? Mother Sachi would try to reason with him, and he would give various arguments, but she would always win in that sense, convincing that earth in the form of certain things is meant for different reasons. It's not to be done. In this case, he's teaching that what we also said this morning, we prayed this morning, Om Pavitra Vitrova Sarvavastam Vatopiva Yuksmat Pundarikaksham Sabhyabhyantarakshiti. Clean or unclean, doesn't matter, anyone who remembers the lotus feet of the Lord immediately becomes purified. So in one sense, there's no question of contaminated or uncontaminated for the Lord. It's all his energy. And Mother Sachi is teaching lessons to her son, and even Nimai said, why did nobody explain this to me before? Why was I kept in ignorance of these facts? And sometimes other pastimes, this is a pastime on the left of him being taken away by two thieves. They saw that he had many jewels on him. So these two thieves, they tried to steal him away. They did. They carried him away on their shoulder. They enticed him with ladus. They gave him some nice ladus. But the ladies would also many times say, Nimai, Nimai, dance, dance. Let us see you dance. If you dance nicely, we'll give you a ladu. Nice ladus. So they enticed him with ladus. Lord Chaitanya Nimai was enjoying the ladus. He was enjoying the ride on the back of one of these thieves. So he's having fun going around the neighborhood. And by his mystic powers, they got lost. And these two thieves went round and ended up back in the exact courtyard where they stole him from. And they panicked and they just placed him down and ran away. But the Lord was very pleased with them because they gave him a kind of a tour, you know. They were doing service like that. He blessed them. And on the right, this is, well, it's a little bit, I guess it is, there's a sad bouge picture on the wall. I don't know quite why it's there. Maybe it was there, I don't know. I've never seen that before. In Nimai was also, there was this one Brahmin who came to the house of Jagannath Mishra. And naturally Jagannath Mishra was very happy to receive this saintly Brahmin. And he offered him a nice place to stay and offered him all the bogey he needed to make his offering to his deity. So this Brahmin, he prepared all the offerings for his deity. And as he was about to offer, he was offering to Krishna, you know, various prayers, calling the Lord to honor the prasadam. So little baby Nimai, maybe a little grown up there, but it was understood he was a baby. He crawled into the room, and whilst the Brahmin was absorbed in meditating, chanting his offering prayers, Nimai started to eat the offering. Then the Brahmin came out of his meditation or his prayers. Oh no, what's happening here? The child has contaminated the offering. Oh no, it's not offerable anymore. So then Jagannath Mishra was called, naughty boy, don't do that. You shouldn't do that. And so he admonished him. He said, oh, please, 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 cook again. I'll make sure he doesn't come this time. So the Brahmin prepared again. He gave him new foodstuffs, and he cooked again. But exactly the same thing happened. Some other Nimai sneaked out without anyone's knowledge into the room where the Brahmin was staying and started to consume the offering before it had been offered fully. And again the Brahmin opens. Oh, he started crying and crying. Oh no, what have I done wrong? Why? Why is this child ruining my offerings to the Lord? And so then Jagannath Mishra came in, very angry with Nimai. He was ready to beat him. The Brahmin said, no, don't beat him. It must be that today I'm not destined to eat. So for Jagannath Mishra this was unbearable. A guest had come to his house and wasn't properly received. So he was very upset. He said, oh, I beg you, please, my whole household, begging you, will be finished, ruined. Please, please, I apologize over and over again for this naughty child. We'll tie him up and make sure he cannot escape. But please make another offering and I'll honor your prasadam. So the Brahmin eventually agreed. And it was really late at night by now, really late. So he cooked again and made his offering. And just as he's about to offer, or just starting his offering, lo and behold, none other than Nimai appeared on the scene. Although he was supposed to be locked up in the room with, you know, tied up practically, he suddenly appeared on the scene. Oh no! What is it? What's going on? why do you keep coming here? He said, because you keep calling me. And then he revealed himself as that person who he's offering it to. I'm so pleased with your devotion. I can't resist coming here and accepting the offering which you're making. And the Brahmin was so fortunate that he actually had the darshan of the Lord like that. But there's pastimes. There's playing games, and this is with the ladus and things. Everyone would play instruments and laugh and dance, and they like to see Nimai with his friends dancing like this. It isn't a better painting of him sitting on the pots with Mother Sachi, reasoning about these pots are not for, they're not there, they're contaminated. You have to know the difference between Suchi and Muchi. You're a Brahmin boy. What will people think of you if you grow up like this? Brahmins, should never touch unclean things. And on the right there's a picture of the girls. The girls would have a bathing place at the river Jamuna, and boys another place. But Nimai would suddenly turn up. The girls would be making offerings to the Durga and others, praying for a good husband. But he would come and he would snatch the offerings so they weren't looking. Really, they would freak out. They would report him to Mother Sachi, but no one could ever catch him. So all these different pastimes, he would go into rages sometimes when there was a time when Mother Sachi kept him at home, because when Nimai's brother left home and took sannyas, Mother Sachi was afraid that he would do the same, so she stopped his education. Nimai would go into rages, angry rages, and smash things left and right in the center. Left, right and center. Break everything. And there's nothing she could do. The only thing he wouldn't hit was her. He would never hit his mother, never. But everything else got smashed. So here we see the pastimes he performs of smashing things. And sometimes people are akin to the smashing of anartas in Krishna Lila. He smashed all that was unfavorable to pure devotional service. So here in these smashing pastimes also smashes our anartas. He did not smash his mother or gurus or his brother. The people who watched also became free from anartas. There we go. Very nice. Sometimes they would report to Mother Sachi. He would, go to the river Ganga, and when the Brahmins were chanting their Gayatri, he would swim underwater and pull their legs and trip them up. He would take the offerings of the young girls. He would do all kinds of mischief. All kinds of mischief. And then they report to Jagannath Mishra, and Jagannath Mishra would be very upset. And he said, I'll go down to the Ganga and catch this rascal son, this rascal child. Just as he's saying that, Nimai would walk in the room with his school clothes on, looking as clean as a whistle. No, I've not been down to the Ganga. I've been to school. And he was mystic, of course, absolute mystic. So nobody could catch him. He was always playing. He had his band of associates who would always be protecting him also. And he was having a lot of fun as a child. Sometimes he would play with snakes. Whoever hears these confidential topics with devotion will never be bitten by the snake of material existence. The word samsara bhujanga refers to the snake of material existence. When such a snake bites a living entity, he becomes afflicted by the poison of material enjoyment, which increases his attachment for material existence. In this way, the conditioned living entity is afflicted by the poison of enjoyment and considers himself to be the enjoyer. He then continually searches for material happiness, simply due to forgetfulness of Gaura Narayan, another name of the Lord who appears in Kali. Normal Kali Yuga is Gaura Narayan. This age is Gaura Hari. There's again a picture of him going to the school, told to study, a great scholar. He became the most learned Pandit actually in the whole of Navadvip, the great seat of learning. Nobody could defeat him. Brilliant student. Because knowledge was all coming from him, he didn't have to study exactly. He went through the pastimes with his friends. And this, out of order. Out of order, we've already heard that. This body is a transformation of dirt. Eatables are also a transformation of dirt. Please reflect upon this. You are blaming me without consideration. What can I say? Krishna was eating dirt. The Mother Sachi then convinced him with logic and reason. Again, taking shelter of his various spiritual teachers, educational teachers. Not sure what's going on there. Is it a marriage? I can't see it myself. My eyes are not good enough. They get him, okay, so Mother Sachi, when he was about 16 years of age, she had him married to Lakshmi Priya. She was afraid. When Jagannath Mishra left his body, and Vishwarupa had left. Jagannath Mishra left, Mother Sachi was alone with Nimai. So to try to secure his remains, she got him married to Lakshmi Devi. Beautiful match, wonderful event. She's his eternal consort, his eternal potency, so they were married. But then Lord Chaitanya went, that's just in teaching school, but he went to East Bengal on the guise of obtaining wealth. And whilst he was in East Bengal, he met with Tapa Mishra, and of course, actually it said that when he was in East Bengal, now Bangladesh, Tapa Mishra his interaction was the first time the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually revealed his mission, his Sankirtan mission, to Tapa Mishra, and sent him to Benares for his future plan for the Mayavadis now. So he married to but whilst he was away, Lakshmi Priya was bitten by the snake of separation, and she left her body. Nobody could save her. She was unable to live without Nimai's presence. So when Nimai came back, of course, there was a devastated scene in the house. But it's just Mother Sachi and her servant. And eventually the news came out that Nimai tried to console his mother, but it was very difficult. So after some time, she again wanted to arrange his marriage. So then again, he was married to Vishnu Priya. During this time, he was more and more. He started his own toll, his own school, teaching so many students the philosophy, not so much the philosophy, grammar, nyaya, logic, reason, different aspects of the Vedic learning, and he became the most expert in that regards. One great scholar named Digvijay of Kashmir, the great Digvijay of Kashmir, was traveling around India. He was so learned no one could defeat him. He came to Navadvip as a great seat of learning. Nobody in Navadvip was willing to face him. They were afraid that they would be embarrassed. So he heard in Navadvip that there was this rising star named Nimai Pandit, so he wanted to meet him. So he came and they met and they discussed, and it was a wonderful discussion on the bank of the Ganga. They were discussing various aspects of grammar and what have you. And I can't remember the details, but Nimai asked him to recite some verses glorifying Mother Ganga. So the Pandit was very happy, this Digvijay Pandit was extremely happy, and he reeled off 100 verses like the wind, glorifying Mother Ganga. Everyone was astonished at his poetic rendition, his learning, description of Ganga, so beautiful. But then at the end of it, he asked Nimai for his impression. He said, your poetry is full of wonderful, wonderful embellishments, but there are also many faults in your poem. What? Faults? What do you know about this subject matter? You're just a mere child. How do you know? He said, if you know, point them out. What are they? And then Nimai said, in verse 48, he said something about Bhartri, something like that. I can't remember the Sanskrit words. This is what do you call it? Repetition. It's a redundant repetition. And then in verse this and that, this is this and this is that and this is that. He went through the whole rendition. He said, and these are just a few of the faults. I could point out many more. The scholar was completely stunned. How can you even remember it? What to speak of? Analyze it like this. He realized he was not dealing with an ordinary person. And he was defeated. And that night, because Digbijay worshipped Mother Saraswati, it was a goddess of learning. That's how he was so expert. That night he was praying, my dear Mother Saraswati, how has this happened? How have you been embarrassed in front of a mere child who has no knowledge of this subject matter? I don't understand it. What happened? So then the Mother Saraswati appeared in his dream, and she said, that personality who's defeated you yesterday is my worshipful Lord. He is the object of all knowledge. So he became very happy that he was defeated by the Lord himself. Very fortunate. And then we heard this morning how he went to Gaya on the guise of performing the Shraddha ceremony for his father on the anniversary of his departure. But his real intention of going there was to take shelter of Ishvara Puri. But in Gaya there's this temple of Lord Vishnu, the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. It's very famous. So he went there and took darshan of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. But his real fulfillment of his mission of going there was to take shelter of Ishvara Puri. And from then on he was a changed child. And we saw some of these slides this morning. He went back to Navadvip and everyone was astonished. When he was in Navadvip before, he was always taunting the devotees. They were wondering, why he's so beautiful and so fortunate, and we're magnetically attracted to him. But he never behaves like a Vaishnava. He's always arguing with us, pointing out faults, hanging around, discussing logic and reason and all these other subjects. No devotion. If only he would become a devotee. They were praying like this. And they would sometimes run away with him because they didn't want to get entangled in, arguments and so on, debates. Devotees just want to get on with their devotion. So after going to Gaya, the Lord came back to Mayapur, and he was a changed person. He was no longer that wrangling pandit or that mischievous child who would torment the Brahmins in various ways, or the Vaishnavas in various ways. But now he was paying his obeisances to all the devotees and all the Brahmins, asking, please engage me in your service. He was completely humbled. Completely humbled. They were astonished. Not only that, but he was becoming mad, intoxicated in chanting the holy name of Hari. So much so that Mother Sachi was so worried. She didn't know what to do. She thought he'd gone crazy. He was no longer interested in everything. Even in school, his students, they were wondering what's going on. You're no longer teaching us anything. You're telling us everything means Krishna. We're not learning anything here. What you're talking about is Krishna. Every word is another form of Krishna. What is this? What are we going to learn like this? So even his school was not, nothing. Everything was Krishna. Everything. He was in totally different, revealing a totally different mood. Let's learn the lessons. We learn our lessons to see everything in relationship with Krishna, Lord is teaching. And of course, this is a very famous pastime. Lord Nityananda had been away. He left Ekachakra more or less around the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the world. And for 20 years he'd been traveling. He went off, he took initiation from Madhavendra Puri and like that. And he was in Vrindavan for many years. Nityananda was in Vrindavan. But when he heard, because he's all cognizant, so when he understood that Lord Chaitanya had now begun his Sankirtan movement, he immediately returned to Navadvip. And this is their meeting. He'd been staying in the house of one pandit there. Nobody could find him. But then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to that place and they met. And of course that was their eternal. Lord Nityananda, but up to this point they never, externally speaking, they never met. When Nityananda was in Pandharpur, Vishrup, Lord Chaitanya's brother, had left his body there, and Vishrup left his body in Pandharpur, and he merged into the form of Lord Nityananda there. So Vishrup was actually a partial expansion of Nityananda. So again, his brother had returned to Mayapur in the sense because Nityananda was actually his brother. So he returned there and they were in absolute ecstasy and reunion. And that's when the Sankirtan movement really began. And they started to have kirtans in the various places and homes. That's another scene, I guess, of what is it, maybe the marriage, I don't know what it is. No, they're probably performing the 72-hour worship. I don't know quite what they're doing now. So the Sankirtan movement began in the house of Srivas Thakur, Srivasangan. Sometimes they would go to the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya and perform all night kirtans. So many pastimes are mentioned in the various biographies of those kirtans and different incidences. They would only allow pure devotees in for the night kirtans. For the sake of the people in general, they would go out during the day performing Nagar Sankirtan. But at night they would have these confidential kirtan programs. Only the pure devotees would be allowed. If anyone wasn't a pure devotee, Lord Chaitanya would immediately notice it. Well, Nimai would. Gaura Hari, they would call him Gaura Hari by this time. He'd immediately notice it. The name Chaitanya came at sannyas. But Gaura Hari would immediately notice it. Because he wouldn't feel the same ecstasy if any non-devotee or impure devotee was in the present. One time Srivas Thakur's mother-in-law or something, she managed to sneak in and Lord Chaitanya could immediately tell somebody was in the room who was not supposed to be there. And they searched and found her and took her out. Another time, one very pure young Brahmana, who was a friend of Srivas Thakur, he was really austere. He just lived on milk. He never took anything else, just milk. He begged and begged and begged and begged Srivas, please, may I have one opportunity to see the dancing of Gaura Hari, just once. Lord Chaitanya will not allow it. You have to get permission before you're allowed in, but just once. Okay, but all right. But make sure you hide very well so that no one can see you. The Lord Chaitanya is dancing and suddenly he stops, says, Srivas, why am I not experiencing the same ecstasy this evening, this night? Somebody is here who shouldn't be. Is that the reason? Oh, well, no, my Lord, no, only pure souls are here. Tell me the truth, Srivas. Somebody is here. Well, my Lord, there's only a very, very pure Brahmana here who lives on just simply drinking milk. He's so pure. Drinking milk? What qualification is that? Get him out of here right away. And Srivas had to just throw him out of the house straight away. And as he was being thrown out, this Brahmana was thinking, how fortunate I am. I'm the most fortunate person. For a few moments I saw the Lord dance. And Lord Chaitanya could see his heart. He said, okay, bring him straight back in. He is now qualified. And he became a member of the inner party, so to speak. Because his attitude is not what we do, but the attitude we have. To think, to see the Lord's hand working, even when we're chastised or when things don't go the way we like it, but to see the Lord's hand working and to be thankful to the Lord for whatever little good fortune we've got. But Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement was going all over Navadvip, around the various villages and marketplaces of Navadvip. He'd send devotees out. Of course there was opposition from various quarters. This is the famous one, probably the most famous one. There were these two dacoits, Jagai and Madai. They were really opposed to the Sankirtan. Not exactly, they were drunkards, they were dacoits, they were, womanizers, everything. Taking intoxicants left and right, murderers. They did all kinds of sin. Every type of sin. They didn't directly offend Vaishnavas per se, but they did every sinful activity. This is another lesson, that sinful activity, although bad and obviously not favorable, is nothing compared to Vaishnava aparad. There's nothing worse than offending a Vaishnava. Anything can be more or less countered by some prayaschitta or something, but not the offense of a Vaishnava. There is no way that one offends a Vaishnava, and there's so many pastimes of Lord Chaitanya in that regards too, anyway, different instances of persons who offended Srivas Thakur, who offended Haridas Thakur, and so on. And there is no material counter for such things, none. Only by the mercy of the one you've offended. To give an example, in Haridas Thakur's case, when Gopal, what's his name, Chakravarti? Yeah, Gopal Chakravarti. When he offended Haridas Thakur, nothing could relieve him. Even Lord Chaitanya couldn't really relieve him. And it's given as an example was that when you offend someone, even if everyone else forgives you, unless you go to the person you've offended, then there's no release. There's no release. So if you've offended somebody on the internet, it's on the internet you have to go to get release, not even to the person, because it's affected thousands of other people, tens of thousands maybe. Something to bear in mind. We have to be careful, very careful. So so these two anyway, they were drunkards, debauchers, murderers, rapists, all sorts of things. No one was more, you can say, sinful practically in Navadvip at that time. So when they saw Lord Nishananda, they what's you doing, Abadu? Get out of here. And so then they chased them away. Then Lord Chaitanya heard the news. And they went back again, and this time Madai smacked Lord Nityananda with a pot. And Lord Chaitanya came racing on the scene, ready to kill him. Immediately with his Sudarshan, and Nityananda begged the Lord. He fell before him, please, my Lord, please forgive them. Especially Jagai, he protected me from Madai, tried to. Please forgive them. If we have to kill these two, we have to kill everyone. Everyone's like a Jagai Madai in this age. So the Lord forgave them if they took shelter of Nityananda. And Chankazi was another opposition of course. That's the famous pastime of Lord Chaitanya. Going to the Kazi's palace, Kazi had stopped the Sankirtan, ordered that the Sankirtan should be stopped in Navadvip. He was the magistrate, he was like the main person under the king in Navadvip. And so he ordered them to stop, and the devotees were afraid, but Lord Chaitanya, quite to the opposite. He called all the devotees together and arranged the first civil disobedience, you could say, movement. And they went by the thousands and millions of people eventually joined from all the different regions of the universe, it said. Nobody knew where they came from. They just suddenly appeared with torches and cartels and drums. There was countless people parading in different directions towards the palace of the Kazi. And he was terrified, and eventually, after Nimai assured him not to be afraid, and he came out and they had a discussion, and Nimai Pandit convinced him of the situation of the Sankirtan movement, and he allowed Sankirtan from there on and swore that nobody under my jurisdiction or any of my generations in the future will stop the performance of Sankirtan. And that's another thing. But at one point of time, and even for various reasons, one, because many of the scholars were, Lord Chaitanya in the mood of Radharani, and it was just in various moods, was chanting Gopi, Gopi, Gopi sometimes. He was so, I don't know what type of mood, but he was chanting Gopi, 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 and then one scholar came along and said, why are you chanting Gopi? You should be chanting Krishna's name. Lord Chaitanya became furious and chased him away, ready to beat him. Pastime. The Brahmin became very upset, and Lord Chaitanya felt, this is not good. It's not good. This is undoing my very purpose of bringing people to Krishna consciousness, and rather I'm chasing them away, keeping them away. Even at night, many persons were very angry that they were not allowed into Srivas's house, and they were very upset, and they were coming ready to curse Lord Chaitanya. Oh, they were criticizing him in various ways. So they said, Lord Chaitanya reasoned that this is not good, that people are now criticizing me, defeating my purpose. One Brahmin, he was so angry when he saw Lord Chaitanya Gaura Hari down at the river Ganga. He said, I curse you, Pandit, I curse you. Please don't let me into your night kirtans, I curse you. You will never be able to enjoy material sense gratification. The Lord Chaitanya took that as a very great blessing, of course. No question of him doing it anyway, but he cursed him like this, thinking he was an ordinary person. Because most people think material sense gratification is really, what we're looking for. So then Lord Chaitanya took this as the catalyst to take sannyas. So he reasoned, talked to some of his intimate associates about this. Mother Sachi was always worried he would run away and take sannyas. So he did. He decided he was going to take her. He told a few of his associates. The night before, Vishnu Priya was really concerned. He felt that he was, going to do this, but he assured her he would never leave her. But he left in the middle of the night and just walked out of the house and took sannyas and Vishnu Priya then was left for the rest of her life in Vipalamba Bhav, totally absorbed. But Lord Chaitanya said he would always be with her when she was chanting or whatever she was doing. So she had deities, and that deity is there in Navadvip, beautiful deity of Nimai there in Navadvip. And she was always in absolute absorption in meditating on her master, her Lord. But she was left the rest of her life in that state. And Mother Sachi and Vishnu Priya, of course, they were devastated when they saw he'd gone, left home, knowing that he'd gone away to take sannyas. And he took sannyas from Keshwara Bharati in Katwa, across the river Ganga. That was a devastating scene. Everyone was crying when he had his head shaved, the locks shaved off of his head, and he'd entered into a new world. You could say new pastimes unfolded. Now he himself was going into the mood of Radharani, this mood of feeling of separation from Krishna when he left Vrindavan. And then he, same picture. And he did, by the grace of his own will, of course, but ultimately Nityananda brought him back to Shantipur, where he actually, all the residents of Navadvip were able to come and get his darshan again. Her Mother Sachi appealed to him, please, my dear son, please don't go far away. At least I can receive news of you. So he agreed to go to Puri, because all the time there was back and forth between Puri and Navadvip. So he did. He decided to go to Puri on the request of his mother, and then he headed off towards Puri, of course. And regularly the devotees would see him. He did come back to Navadvip a few times also to give darshan to the devotees. And there he is, leaving, mother forlorn, and going away. When he arrived in Puri after the journey, we've heard a bit about that the other day, but when he arrived in Puri, when he was so eager to see, he was in the mood of separation. Jagannath is Krishna, and he's in the mood of Radharani, so he was like basically running to see the deity, see his Lord Jagannath. And when he entered the temple, he completely collapsed on the ground. And usually the pandas in the temple, when someone does that, they drag him out or beat him even. But they were about to do that. They thought he was another, imitator or something. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, the head of the Brahmin community there in Puri, happened to be there, and he could see this is not an ordinary person. He could see by the symptoms. There's a sign here of some spiritual ecstasy. So he stopped them, and he took the Lord Chaitanya back to his home and tried to revive him, but he wasn't reviving. But then, because Lord Chaitanya went with some of his followers, he left them behind for various reasons. And they eventually arrived, and they found out that Lord Chaitanya was in the house of Sarvabhauma, so they went there. And Sarvabhauma watched, and they chanted the names of Hari into his ear, and gradually Mahaprabhu came to consciousness. And then there's a long discussion between him and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And eventually Sarvabhauma said, you are such a young sannyasi. He's too young, you shouldn't have taken sannyas. But at least you should hear the Vedanta from me. He was a great scholar, known throughout India. So Lord Chaitanya said, oh, you're right. I'm very young, I should hear these things. For 7 days, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was talking on Vedanta philosophy. But Lord Chaitanya said nothing. He got the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya at sannyas. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya said nothing. He didn't make any comment. And At the end of 7 days, Sarvabhauma said, I don't understand. Like, whether you understand anything or not, you're not saying anything. Did you understand what I've just been talking about? Do you understand this Vedanta? And Lord Chaitanya said, I understand very well the Vedanta, but I don't understand what you're saying. It's a bunch of lot of speculations. But Sarvabhauma was taken aback. And then Lord Chaitanya so what is your explanation? So then Lord Chaitanya asked him to describe the Atmarama verse, and Sarvabhauma described it in various ways. So what is your take on this famous verse from the Bhagavatam? Then Lord Chaitanya explained it in 64 different ways. Sarvabhauma was stunned. He couldn't believe it. He said, no human being can do this. This man, you're not a human being. You're the absolute truth, the source of everything. So he became a Vaishnava and a great follower. Lord Chaitanya said, I came there just to deliver you. That's my main reason of coming. Because you're my eternal assistant, associate. And then he left the pilgrimage throughout India after that. This is just pictures of him with Sarvabhauma. He revealed his 6-armed form to Sarvabhauma Sadbhuj. You can go there to the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in Puri and see that on the wall there the Sadbhuj form of Lord Chaitanya. And many pastimes took place in Puri on this journey. Again, I didn't get no time to prepare. But there's many, many wonderful pastimes on this journey. Meeting with different devotees here and there. With, I don't know who this is, maybe Rupa Goswami, I don't know. But he met with this Vasudev leper, and after meeting the Kurma Brahmana, he met with this leper, who was actually an untouchable leper. He was living outside the village. He heard Lord Chaitanya to come, and he ran. Well, he couldn't really run, but he made his way there to somewhere to see the Lord from a distance at least. But when he reached the village, Lord Chaitanya already left. He broke down in tears, condemning himself as being absolutely useless. And Lord Chaitanya knew his heart, so he immediately reappeared there, embraced him, and his leprosy was cured. And then Lord Chaitanya moved on to the banks of the river Godavari, where he met with Ramananda Roy. And on the banks of the Godavari was most famous, most significant in one sense, not from our point of view, but in terms of the ultimate objective goal. The discussion with Ramananda Roy takes us from A to Z, right from the beginning of spiritual progress right up to the personification or perfection of pure Mahabhav, or love of God, because Ramananda Roy is Vishaka Devi, one of the most confidential associate of Lordship of Radharani. So now they're meeting. The Lord is meeting with his eternal, most intimate associate, Vishaka Devi, on the banks of the river Godavari. And he kept on asking, what is the perfection? How to attain the perfection? What is it? And on and on and on and on he went, one stage after the next, until he reached the stage of pure devotional service. Then on and on and on, right up to the point of Radharani and Mahabhav. No other person, he said, no other person has ever asked about this before. So they were most intimate discussions. And Lord Chaitanya asked him to come to Puri, which he did. And there he is, Lord Chaitanya showing his form of Radha Krishna to Ramananda Roy. And then he went round India, back to Puri. That's Lord Chaitanya in Pandharpur, actually, in front of Vital, dancing in front of Vital. Tukaram, he said he met Lord Chaitanya there. Back in Puri, there's no order, I just didn't put in much order here, something but not much. Cleansing the Gundicha temple in preparation for Lord Jagannath's arrival. Gundicha represents Vrindavan, whereas the main temple in Puri represents Kurukshetra or Dwarka. So Rath Yatra is bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. That's why it's so important. The greatest fulfillment of Radharani's desire to bring him back to Vrindavan. There's the Rath Yatra, amazing festival. Lord Chaitanya would shower everyone with the gushes of tears from his eyes during Rath Yatra. Immediately, they were tears of prema. So anyone who was touched by those tears immediately experienced prema. Lord would dance in great, unbelievable ways, high in the sky, crash to the ground. Sometimes his body was so elongated, there was no connection between the bones. They were just separated. The arms were extended, the legs extended. Nobody knew what was going on. He was in mad ecstasy. Sometimes he was like a tortoise, all the limbs went within his torso. Sometimes he crashed to the ground, and nobody could control him. And this is famous, no time to tell, maybe tomorrow morning we can talk about this. One of our favourite pastimes of King Prataparudra, who got the darshan because of Rathayatra. Basically, he was able to get the darshan of Lord Chaitanya. Anyway, different pictures are there. Exactly. This is Haridas Thakur, of course, also most profound pastime of Lord Chaitanya and his dear devotees. I don't know what this is, some boat pastime. Maybe on the lake, I don't know where it is. Going through the forest of Naimishranya, Lord Chaitanya delivered all the animals. All of them, tigers, elephants, everything. All delivered to pure devotion. That Sanatana Goswami, when he arrived in the house, when Lord Chaitanya was staying in the house of Chandrasekhar, I think, yeah, Chandrasekhar. He arrived there he was actually dressed like a Muslim mendicant. Lord Chaitanya knew who he was. And of course, that famous conversations with Lord Chaitanya and Sanatana Goswami took place there in Varanasi also. And also there we heard this morning a little bit about the deliverance of the Mayavadis, the sannyasis there. There's a picture of Lord Chaitanya with the sannyasis. And then after that, well, first of all they were seeing him dancing, but then after they became converted, they're seeing him in a different light altogether. They want to join in with it, with this ecstatic kirtan. They did. These Mayavadi sannyasis joined the Harinam Sankirtan. That's Sanatana Goswami with Lord Chaitanya. He delivered pathans. These are some Muslims also, pathans. They were also very impressed, and they also took shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he went to Vrindavan, of course, many wonderful pastimes there. Gaura Sundar in the land of Shyama Sundar. Especially when he came to Govardhan and discovered Radhakund and Shyamakund. Teachings to Rupa Goswami, and so on. And here's Haridas Samadhi. Lord Chaitanya would go swooning ecstasy. He stayed in a Gambhira in the house of Kashi Mishra in Puri, and he would go into ecstatic moods. The first 6 years he was traveling, then the next 6 years Rathayatra festivals, devotees coming, but the last 12 years in Puri he was more or less in seclusion in the Gambhira, and not, it was just internal, absorbed in separation from Krishna. And he would go to along to the river. He would see sand dunes as Govardhan Hill. He'd see the ocean as the River Jamuna. He'd go crazy. He'd run into the ocean sometimes. This is a different one. This is Junior Haridas on the left. It's another pastime. On the right, that's the what's it called, Parvat Chataka, the hills or whatever, sand dunes. He's thinking they're Govardhan Hill. Pastime with a moga, and we delivered a moga for his offences. On the right is the one we mentioned the other day of Ramchandra Puri. He was very envious of Lord Chaitanya, envious of the devotees, envious of his own guru, Ishwar Puri. And Ramchandra Puri were both godbrothers. Madhavendra Puri was their guru, but he was envious of Madhavendra Puri. And he became cursed, basically, when she was delivered. Different pastimes, maybe that's Raghunath Das with his chip rice, and I think so. Lord Chaitanya in the temple behind the god. After he fainted in the first time with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he said, I would never go in front of the deities directly. I will see the deities from the Guru's stumbling. So he wouldn't go close to the deity in case he went crazy. So he would just take darshan from the back, right at the back, Guru's stumbling. So one lady, she climbed on her shoulders. Everyone was shocked. What is this lady climbing on Lord Chaitanya's shoulders? And he said, her devotion is much greater than mine. Her eagerness to see the Lord is much greater than mine. She's a great devotee. Govinda, his servant, climbing over him, showing a very transcendental lesson of the position. For service, we will do anything. For our own sense gratification, we will do nothing. So Lord Chaitanya said, why didn't you step back over? You stepped over to massage me. Why didn't you step back for your meal? They said, for myself, I would never do that. For your service, I'm willing to go to hell. Different pastimes. The Lord is feeding him. Haridas Thakur, Rupa Goswami Prabhu. We saw that before. Haridas Thakur. This is Lord Chaitanya and the Gambhira with his intimate associates. Swarup Damodar was his secretary. He's Lalita Devi. He was his most intimate associate. Most intimate. Lord Chaitanya running along the banks. They would chase after him along the river, along the ocean shore. During the night they sometimes couldn't find him. He would disappear. And the search parties going everywhere. But he was in such ecstasy and separation. Constantly crying in separation from his Lord. That's not proper order, as you can see. That's one of my favorite pictures. Love that one. Lord Chaitanya. That's a real painting. It's said to be an original painting of Lord Chaitanya. And he left this mortal world, so to speak. Different stories that were generally understood. He entered into the deity of Tota Gopinath, where Gadadhar Pandit, his most intimate associate, his expansion really, was engaged in the worship of Tota Gopinath. And there Lord Chaitanya entered in. Said he entered into the knee of the Tota Gopinath deity. There's a crack there. And entered into that deity. And that's an original painting. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. And we have to finish, we have to go on with the program. I'm sorry it was a bit disjointed and not so well, let's say, narrated or discussed. A lot of the pictures, I don't even remember what they are. That's that. That's life. Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.